let fame that all hunt after in their lives live registered upon our brazen tombs, and then grace us in the disgrace of death. When, spite of cormorant devouring time, the endeavor of this present breath may buy that honor which shall bait his scythe's keen edge, and make heirs of all eternity. Therefore, brave conquerors, for so you are, still and contemplative in living art, you three, Barone, Dumaine, and Longueville, have sworn for 3 years' term to live with me, my fellow scholars, and to keep those statutes that are recorded in this schedule here. Your oaths are passed, and now subscribe your names, that his own hand may strike his honor down, that violates the smallest branch herein. If you are armed to do so, as sworn to do, that war against your own affections and the huge army of the world's desires, our late edict shall strongly stand in force. Nevers shall be the wonder of the world. Our court shall be a little academy. Now, subscribe your deep oaths and keep it to...
I am resolved. 'Tis but a 3 years' fast. The mind shall banquet, though the body pine. Fat paunches have lean pates, and dainty bits make rich the ribs, but bankrupt quite the wits.
Oh.
My loving lord, Dumaine is mortified. The grosser manner of these world's delights he throws upon the gross world's baser slaves. To love, to wealth, to pomp, I pine and die. With all these, living in philosophy.
I can but say their protestation over. So much, dear liege, I have already sworn, that is, to live and study here 3 years. But there are other strict observances, as not to see a woman in that term, which I hope is not enrolled there. And 1 day in a week to touch no food, and but 1 meal on every day beside, the which I hope is not enrolled here. And then to sleep but 3 hours in the night, and not be seen to wink of all the day, when I was wont to think no harm all night, and make a dark night too of half the day, which I hope is well not enrolled there. Oh, these are barren tasks, too hard to keep, not to see ladies, study, fast, not sleep.
Your oath is passed to pass away from these.
Let me say no, my liege. And if you please, I only swore to study with your grace, and stay here in your court for 3 years' space.
You swore to that, Barone, and to the rest.
By yea and nay, sir, then I swore in jest. What is the end of study? Let me know.
Why, that to know which else we should not know.
Things hid and barred, you mean, from common sense?
Aye, that is study's godlike recompense.
Come on, then. I will swear to study so, to know the thing I am forbid to know, and thus to study where I well may dine, when I to feast expressly am forbid. Or study where to meet some mistress fine, when mistresses from common sense are hid. Or, having sworn too hard a keeping oath, study to break it, and not break my troth. If study's gain be thus, and this be so, study knows that which yet it doth not know. Swear me to this, and I will ne'er say no.
These be the stops that hinder study quite, and train our intellects to vain delight.
Why, all delights are vain, but that most vain, which with pain purchased doth inherit pain. Study is like the heaven's glorious sun, that will not be deep searched with saucy looks. Small have continual plotters ever won, save base authority from others' books. These earthly godfathers of heaven's light, that give a name to every fixed star, have no more profit of their shining nights than those that walk and what not what they are.
How well he's read to reason against reading.
Proceeded well to stop all good proceeding.
He weeds the corn, and still, let's grow the weeding.
Barone is like an envious sneaping frost that bites the firstborn infants of the spring.
Well, say I am. Why should proud summer boast before the birds have any cause to sing? Why should I joy in any abortive birth? At Christmas, I no more desire a rose than wish a snow in May's newfangled mirth. But like of each thing that in season grows, so you, to study now it is too late, climb o'er the house to unlock the little gate.
Well, sit you out. Go home, Barone, adieu.
No, my good lord, I have sworn to stay with you, and though I have for barbarism spoke more than for that angel knowledge you can say, yet confident I'll keep what I have swore, and bide the penance of each 3 years' day. Give me the paper, let me read the same, and to the strictest decrees I'll write my name.
How well this yielding rescues thee from shame.
Item, that no woman shall come within a mile of my court. Hath this been proclaimed?
4 days ago.
Well, let's see the penalty. On pain of losing her tongue. Who devised this penalty?
Mary, that did I.
The sweet lord, and why?
To fright them hence, and with that dread penalty.
A dangerous law against gentility. Item, if any man be seen to talk with a woman within the term of 3 years, he shall endure such public shame as the rest of the court can possibly devise. This article, my liege, yourself must break. For well you know, here comes in embassy the French king's daughter with yourself to speak, a maid of grace and complete majesty, about surrender up of Aquitaine to her decrepit, sick, and bedridden father. Therefore this article is made in vain, or vainly comes the admired princess hither.
What say you, lords, why this was quite forgot?
So study evermore is overshot. While it doth study to have what it would, it doth forget to do the thing it should. And when it hath the thing it hunteth most, 'tis one as towns with fire, so won, so lost.
We must of force dispense with this decree. She must lie here on mere necessity.
Necessity will make us all forsworn 3,000 times within this 3 years' space. For every man with his affects is born, not by might mastered, but by special grace. If I break faith, this word shall speak for me. I am forsworn on mere necessity. So to the laws at large, I write my name. And he that breaks them in the least degree stands an attainder of eternal shame. Suggestions are to other as to me. But I believe, although I seem so loath, I am the last that will keep his oath.
Which is the Duke's own person?
This fellow, what wouldst?
I myself reprehend his own person, for I am his Grace's Tharborough, and I would see his own person in flesh and blood.
Well, this is he.
Senior I commend you. There's villainy abroad. This letter will tell you more.
Sir, the contempts thereof are as touching me.
A letter from the magnificent Armado.
The matter is to me, sir, as concerning Jacquinetta. The manner is, I was taken in the manner.
In what manner?
In manner and form following, sir. All those three. I was seen with her in the manor house, sitting with her upon the form, and taken following, sir, for the manner. It is the manner of a man to speak to a woman, for the form, in some form.
For the following, sir.
As it shall follow in my correction. And God defend the right.
Will you hear this letter with attention?
As we would hear an oracle.
Such is the simplicity of man to hearken after the flesh.
Great deputy, the Welkins vicegerent and sole dominator of Nevers, my soul's earth's god and body's fostering patron.
Not a word of costard yet.
So it is, besieged with sable-colored melancholy, I did commend the black oppressing humor to the most wholesome physic of thy health-giving air, and, as I am a gentleman, betook myself to walk, the time when, about the 6th hour, when beasts most graze, birds best peck, and men sit down to that nourishment which is called supper. So much for the time when. Now for the ground which I mean I walked upon. It is yclept thy park. Then for the place where I mean I did encounter that obscene and preposterous event that draweth from my snow-white pen the ebon-colored ink, which here thou viewest, beholdest, surveyest, or seest, but to the place where. It standeth north-northeast, and by east, from the west corner of thy curious knotted garden. There did I see that low-spirited swain, that base minnow of thy mirth.
Me?
That unlettered, small-knowing soul.
Me?
That shallow vessel.
Still me, huh?
Which, as I remember, hight Custard.
Oh, me.
Sorted and consorted, contrary to thy established proclaimed edict and continent canon, which with, but with, this I passion to say wherewith.
With a wench.
With a child of our grandmother Eve, a female, or for thy more sweet understanding, a woman. Him I, as my ever-esteemed duty pricks me on, have sent to thee to receive the meed of punishment by thy sweet grace's officer, Anthony Dull, a man of good repute, carriage, bearing, and estimation.
Me. And shall please you, I am Anthony Dull.
For Jaquinetta, so is the weaker vessel called, which I apprehended with the aforesaid swain. I keep her as a vessel of the law's fury, and shall, at the least of thy sweet notice, bring her to trial. Thine in all compliments of devoted and heart-burning heat of duty. Don Adriano de Armado.
Well, this is not so well as I looked for, but the best that ever I heard.
Aye, the best for the worst. But, sirrah, what say you to this?
Sir, I confess the wench.
Did you hear the proclamation?
I do confess much of the hearing it, but little of the marking of it.
It was proclaimed a year's imprisonment to be taken with a wench.
I was taken with none, sir. I was taken with a damsel.
Well, it was proclaimed damsel.
There was no damsel, sir, neither, sir. She was a virgin.
It is so varied too, for it was proclaimed virgin.
And if it were, I deny her virginity. I was taken with a maid.
This maid will not serve your turn, sir.
This maid will serve my turn, sir.
Sir, I will pronounce your sentence. You shall fast a week with bran and water.
I had rather pray a month with mutton and porridge.
And Don Armado shall be your keeper. My Lord Barone, see him delivered o'er, and go we, lords, to put in practice that which each to other hath so strongly sworn.
I'll lay my head to any good man's hat. These oaths and log will prove an idle scorn.
I suffer for the truth, sir, for true it is. I was taken with Jaquinetta, and Jaquinetta is a true girl, and therefore welcome the sour cup of prosperity. Affliction may one day smile again, and until then, sit thee down, sorrow.
Boy, what fine is it when a man of great spirit grows melancholy? Boy, what fine is it when a man of great spirit grows melancholy?
A great sign, sir, that he will look sad.
Why? Sadness is one and the self-same thing, dear imp.
No, no. Oh, Lord, sir, no.
How canst thou part sadness and melancholy, my tender juvenile?
By a familiar demonstration of the working, my tough senior.
Why tough, senor? Why tough, senor?
Why tender juvenile? Why tender juvenile?
I spoke it, tender juvenile, as a congruent epithet appertaining to thy young days, which we may nominate tender.
And I, tough senior, as an appurtenant title to your old time, which we may name tough.
Pretty and apt.
How mean you, sir? I pretty and my saying apt, or I apt and my saying pretty?
The pretty because little.
Little pretty because little. Wherefore apt?
And therefore apt because quick.
Speak you this in my praise, master.
In thy conding praise. I have promised to study 3 years with the Duke.
You may do it in an hour, sir.
Impossible! I will hereupon confess. I am in love. And as it is base for a soldier to love, so I am in love with a base wench. If drawing my sword against the humor of affection would deliver me from the reprobate thought of it, I would take Desire prisoner and ransom him to any French courtier for a newly devised courtesy. I think, scorn to sigh, methinks I should outswear Cupid.
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 Cupid. Cupid.
Cupid.
Cupid!
Yes, see, Cupid.
La, la, la.
Comfort me, boy. What great men have been in love?
Hercules, master.
Ha! 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 Most sweet Hercules, more authority, dear boy. Name more. And, sweet my child, let them be men of good report and carriage.
Samson, master. He was a man of good carriage, great carriage, for he carried the town gates on his back like a porter, and he was in love.
Ho! Ha! Ha! Oh, well knit Samson, strong-jawed Samson, I do excel thee in my rapier, as much as thou didst me in carrying gates. I am in love too. Who is Samson's love, my dear moth?
A woman, master.
Of what complexion?
Of all the 4, or the 3, or the 2, or one of the 4.
Tell me precisely of what complexion.
Of the sea-water green, sir.
Is that one of the 4 complexions?
As I have read, sir, and the best of them, too.
Huh. My love, is immaculate, white and red.
Most immaculate thoughts, master, are masked under such colors.
Boy, I do love that country girl that I took in the park with the rational hind costard. She deserves well.
To be whipped, and yet a better love than my master.
Sing, boy. My spirit grows heavy in love.
Forbear till this company be past.
Sir, the Duke's pleasure is that you keep Costard safe, and you must suffer him to take no delight nor no penance, but he must fast 3 days a week. For this damsel, I must keep her at the park. She is allowed for the day, woman. Fare you well.
I do betray myself with blushing. Maid!
Ma'am?
I will visit thee at the lodge.
That's hereby.
I know where it is situated.
Lord, how wise you are.
Oh, I will tell thee wonders.
With that face?
Oh, I love thee.
So I heard you say.
And so, farewell.
Fair weather after you.
Come, Jacquinetta. Away.
Villain, thou shalt fast for thy offenses ere thou be pardoned.
Well, sir, I hope when I do it, I shall do it on a full stomach.
Take away this villain! Shut him up!
Come, you transgressing slave, away!
Let me not be pent up, sir. I will fast. Being loose.
No, sir, that were fast and loose. Thou shalt to prison.
I do affect the very ground which it bathe, where her shoe, which it bathe her, guided by her foot, which it batheth, doth tread. I shall be forsworn, which is the great argument of falsehood, if I love. And how can that be a true love, which is falsely attempted? Love is a familiar. Love is a devil. There is no evil angel but love. Yet, was Samson so tempted? And he had excellent strength. Yet, was Solomon so seduced? And he had a very good wit. Cupid's butter shaft is too hard for Hercules' club, and therefore too much odds for a Spaniard's rapier. The first and second cause will not serve my turn. The pasado, he respects a not. The duello, he regards a not. His disgrace is to be called boy, but his glory to subdue men. Adieu, valor, rust, rapier. Be still, drum, for your manager is in love. He loveth. Assist me some extemporal gold of crime, for I am sure turn sonnet. Devise a wit, write pen, for I am for whole volumes in folio.
Now, madam, summon up your dearest spirits. Consider who the king your father sends, to whom he sends, and what's his embassy. Yourself held precious in the world's esteem to parley with the sole inheritor of all perfections that a man may owe. Matchless Nevers. The plea of no less weight than Aquitaine, a dowry for a queen.
You are not ignorant. All telling fame doth noise abroad. Navarre hath made a vow, till painful study shall outwear 3 years. No woman may approach his silent court. Therefore, too seemeth it a needful course, before we enter his forbidden gates, to know his pleasure, and in that behalf, bold of your worthiness, we single you as our best moving fair solicitor. Tell him, the daughter of the King of France, on serious business, craving quick dispatch, importunes personal conference with his grace. Haste, signify so much, while we attend, like humble-visaged suitors, his high will.
Proud of employment, willingly I go.
Who are the votaries, my loving ladies, that are vow fellows with this virtuous duke?
Lord Longueville is one.
Know you the man?
I know him, madam. At a marriage feast in Normandy I saw this Longueville. A man of sovereign parts he is esteemed, well fitted in the arts, glorious in arms. Nothing becomes him ill that he would well. The only soil of his fair virtue's gloss, if virtue's gloss will stain with any soil, is a sharp wit, matched with too blunt a will, whose edge hath power to cut, whose will still wills, it should none spare that come within his power.
Some merry mocking lord belike, is it so?
They say so most, that most his humours know.
Such short-lived wits do wither as they grow. Who are the rest?
The young Dumain, a well-accomplished youth, of all that virtue love for virtue loved, most power to do most harm, least knowing ill, for he hath wit to make an ill shape good, and shape to win grace, though he had no wit. I saw him at the Duke Alençon's once, and much too little of that good I saw is my report to his great worthiness.
Another one of these students at that time was there with him. If I have heard a truth, Barome they call him, but a merrier man within the limit of becoming mirth. I never spent an hour's talk withal. His eyes begets occasion for his wit, for every object that the one doth catch, the other turns to a mirth-moving jest, which his fair tongue conceits exposition, delivers in such apt and gracious words, that aged ears play truant at his tales, and younger hearings are quite ravaged, so sweet and voluble is his discourse.
God bless my ladies! Are they all in love, that every one her own hath garnished with such bedecking ornaments of praise? Now, what admittance, friend?
Navarre had notice of your fair approach, and he and his competitors in oath were all addressed to meet you, young gentle lady, before I came. Marry, thus much have I learned. He rather means to lodge you in the field, like one that comes here to besiege his court, then seek a dispensation for his oath to let you enter his unpeopled house. Here comes Navarre.
Fair princess, welcome to the court of Navarre.
Fair I give you back again, and welcome I have not yet. The roof of this court is too high to be yours, and welcome to the wide field too big to be mine.
You shall be welcome, madam, to my court.
I will be welcome then. Conduct me thither.
Hear me, dear lady. I have sworn an oath.
Our lady, help my lord. He'll be forsworn.
Not for the world, fair madam, by my will.
Why, will shall break it. Will and nothing else.
Your ladyship is ignorant what it is.
Were my lord so, his ignorance were wise. Where now his knowledge must prove ignorance. I hear your grace hath sworn out housekeeping. 'Tis deadly a sin to keep that oath, my lord, and a sin to break it. But pardon me, I am too set and bold to teach a teacher. Ill beseemeth me. Vouchsafe to read that purpose of my coming, and suddenly resolve me in my suit.
Madam, I will, if suddenly I may.
You will the sooner that I were away, for you'll prove perjured if you make me stay.
Did not I dance with you in Brabant once?
Did not I dance with you in Brabant once?
I know you did.
How needless it was then to ask the question.
You must not be so quick.
'Tis long of you that spur me with such questions.
Your wit's too hot. It speeds too fast. 'Twill tire.
Not till it leave the rider in the mire.
Madam, your father here doth intimate the payment of 100,000 crowns, being but the 1/2 of an entire sum dispersed by my father in his wars. But say that he or we, as neither have received that sum, yet there remains unpaid 100,000 more, in surety of the which one part of Aquitaine is bound to us, although not valued to the money's worth. If then the king your father will restore but that 1/2 which is unsatisfied, we will give up our right in Aquitaine, and hold fair friendship with his majesty. But that it seems he little purposeth, for here he doth demand to have repaid 100,000 crowns, and not demands, on payment of 100,000 crowns, to have his title live in Aquitaine, which we much rather had to part withal, and have the money by our father lent, than Aquitaine so gelded as it is. Dear princess, were not his requests so far from reason's yielding, your fair self should make a yielding gainst some reason in my breast, and go well satisfied to France again.
You do my father too much wrong, and wrong the reputation of your own name, and so unseeming to confess receipt of that which hath so faithfully been paid.
I do protest I have never heard of it, and if you prove it, I'll repay it back, or yield up Aquitaine.
We arrest your word. For yet, you can produce acquittances for such a sum from special officers of Charles his father.
Satisfy me so.
So please your grace, the packet is not come where that and other specialties are bound. Tomorrow you shall have sight of them.
It shall suffice me. At which interview all liberal reason I will yield unto. Meantime, receive such welcome at my hand as honor without breach of honor may make tender of to thy true worthiness. You may not come, fair princess, in my gates, but here without you shall be so received as you shall deem yourself lodged in my heart, though so denied fair harbor in my house. Your own good thoughts excuse me, and farewell. Tomorrow shall we visit you again.
Sweet health and fair desires consort, your grace.
Thy own wish I thee in every place.
Lady, I will commend you to mine own heart.
Oh, pray you, do my commendations. I would be glad to see it.
Or would you heard it groan?
Who is the fool sick?
Sick at the heart.
Alack, let it blood.
Would that do it good?
My physic say aye.
Will you prick it with your eye?
No point. With my knife.
Now, God save thy life.
And yours, from long living.
I cannot stay Thanksgiving.
Faith, I pray you a word. What lady is that same?
The heir of Alanson, Catherine her name.
A gallant lady. Lady, fare you well.
I beseech you a word. What is she in the white?
A woman sometimes, and you saw her in the light.
Oh, perchance light in the light. I desire her name.
She hath but one for herself. To desire that were a shame.
Pray you, Faith, whose daughter?
Her mother's, I have heard.
Oh, God's blessing for this word.
Good sir, be not offended. She is an heir of Falconbridge.
Oh, nay, my choler is ended. She is a most sweet lady.
Not unlike, sir, that may be.
What's her name in the cap?
Rosaline, by good hap.
Is she wedded or no?
To her will, sir, or so.
You are welcome then. Adieu.
Farewell to me, sir, and welcome to you.
At last is grown the merry madcap lord, not a word with him, but a jest.
And every jest but a word.
Oh, it was well done of you to take him at his word.
I was as willing to grapple as he was to board.
Good wits will be jangling, but gentles agree. This civil war of wits were much better used on Nevers and his bookmen, for here 'tis abused.
If my observation, which very seldom lies, by the heart still rhetoric disclosed with eyes deceive me not now, Nevers is infected.
With what?
With that which we lovers entitle affected.
Your reason?
Why, all his behaviors did make their retire to the court of his eye, peeping through desire, his heart like an agate with your print impressed, proud with his form, in his eye pride expressed, his tongue, all impatient to speak and not see, did stumble with haste in his eyesight to be. All senses to that sense did make their repair, to feel only looking on fairest of fair. Methought all his senses were locked in his eye, as jewels in crystal for some prince to buy, who, tendering their own worth for where they were glassed, did point you to buy them along as you passed. His face's own margin did quote such amazes that all eyes saw his eyes enchanted with gazes. I'll give you Aquitaine and all that is his, and you give him for my sake but one loving kiss.
Come to our pavilion, though yet is disposed.
But to speak that in words which his eye hath disclosed, I only have made a mouth of his eye, by adding a tongue which I know will not lie.
Thou art an old love-monger and speakest skillfully.
She is Cupid's grandmother, and learns news of him.
You are too hard for me.
Warble, child, make passionate my sense of hearing. Oh, sweet air, go tenderness of years, take this key, give enlargement to the swain, bring him fascinately hither. I must employ him in a letter to my love.
A message well sympathized, a horse to be ambassador for an ass.
What sayest thou?
Marry, sir, you must send the ass upon the horse, for he is very slow-gaited. But I go.
The way is but short. Away.
As swift as lead, sir.
The meaning, pretty ingenious, is not lead a metal heavy, dull, and slow?
Many may, honest master, or rather, master, no.
I say lead is slow.
You are too swift, sir, to say so. Is that lead slow which is fired from a gun?
Oh, sweet smoke of rhetoric! He reputes me a cannon and a bullet. That's he. I shoot thee at the swain.
Thump then, and I flee.
Most acute juvenile, voluble and free of grace. By thy favor, sweet welkin, I must sigh in thy face. Most rude, melancholy valor give thee place. Ooh, my herald hath returned.
A wonder, master, here's a costard broken in a shin.
Oh, some enigma, some riddle. Come, l'envoi, begin.
No. No enigma. No riddle. No l'envoi. No salve in the mail, sir. Oh, sir. Plantain. A plain plantain. No l'envoi. No l'envoi. No salve, sir. But a plantain.
By virtue, thou enforcest laughter. Thy silly thought, my spleen. The heaving of my lungs provokes me to ridiculous smiling. Oh, pardon me, my stars, doth the inconsiderate take salve for l'envoi, and no one l'envoi for a salve.
Do the wise think them other? Is not l'envoi a salve?
No, page. It is an epilogue or discourse to make plain some obscure precedents that have tofore been seen. I will example it. The fox, the ape, and the humble bee were still at odds, being but three. There's the moral. Now, the l'envoi.
I will add the l'envoi. Say the moral again.
The fox, the ape, and the humble bee were still at odds, being but three.
Until the goose came out of door and stayed the odds by adding 4.
Come here. How did this argument begin?
By saying that a costard was broken in a shin, then called you for the l'envoi.
But tell me, how was there a costard broken in a shin?
I will tell you sensibly.
Thou hast no feeling of it, moth. I will speak that l'envoi. I, custard, running out, that was safely within, fell over the threshold and broke my shin.
We won't talk no more of this matter.
Till there be more matter in the shin.
Sarah costard, I will enfranchise thee.
Oh, marry me to one of the Frances. I smell some l'envoi, some goose.
By my sweet soul, I mean setting thee at liberty. In freedom in thy person, thou wert immured, restrained, captivated, bound.
True. And now you will be my purgation and let me loose.
I give thee thy liberty, set thee from durance, and in lieu thereof impose on thee nothing but these. Bear this significant to the country-maid Jacanetta. There is remuneration. Moth, follow.
Like the sequel I. Signor Costard, adieu.
Now I will look to his remuneration. Remuneration. Oh, what's the Latin word for 3 farthings? 3 farthings! Remuneration. What's the price of this inky 1 penny? No, I'll give you a remuneration. Remuneration.
Oh, my good knave Costard. Exceedingly well met.
Pray you, sir, how much carnation ribbon may a man buy for a remuneration?
What is a remuneration?
Marry, sir, a halfpenny farthing.
Why then 3 farthing worth of silk?
I thank your worship. God be with you.
Well, stay, slave. I must employ thee. As thou wilt with my favor, good my knave, do one thing for me that I shall entreat.
What would you have it done, sir?
This afternoon.
Well, I will do it, sir. Fare you well.
But thou knowest not what it is.
No, I shall know, sir, when I have done it.
Why, villain, thou must know first.
I will come to your worship tomorrow morning.
Nay, it must be done this afternoon. Hark, slave. It is but this. The princess comes to hunt here in the park, and in her train there is a gentle lady. When tongue speaks sweetly, then they name her name, and Rosaline they call her. Ask for her, and to her white hand see thou do commend this sealed up counsel. There's thy guerdon. Go.
Garden, oh sweet Gardon, better than remuneration. 11 pence farthing better. Oh, most sweet garden. I will do it, sir, in print. Garden! remuneration. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
And I, forsooth, in love, that have been love's whip. What? I love, I sue, I seek a wife, a woman that is like a German clock, still repairing, never out of frame, and never going aright, being a watch, but being watched, that it may still go right. Nay, to be perjured, which is worst of all, among three, to love the worst of all. A whitely wanton, with a velvet brow, with two pitch balls stuck in her face for eyes. Aye, and by heaven, one that will do the deed, though Argus were her eunuch and her guard. And I to sigh for her, to watch for her, to pray for her. Go to. It is a plague that Cupid will impose for my neglect of his almighty, dreadful little might. Well, I will love, right, sigh, pray, sue, and groan. Some men must love my lady, and some Joan.
Was that the king that spurred his horse so hard against the steep uprising of the hill?
I know not, but I think it was not he.
Whoe'er it was, it showed a mounting mind. Well, all, today we shall have our dispatch. On Saturday we will return to France. Then, Forster, my friend, where is the bush that we must stand and play the murderer in?
Hereby, upon the edge of yonder coppice, a stand where you make the fairest shoot.
I thank my beauty. I am fair that shoot, and thereupon thou speakest the fairest shoot.
Pardon me, madam, for I meant not so.
What? First praise me, and again say no? Oh, short-lived pride. Not fair. Lack for woe.
Yes, madam, fair.
Nay, never paint me now. Where fair is not, praise cannot mend the brow. Here, good my glass, take this for telling true. Fair repent for foul words is more than due.
Nothing but fair is that which you inherit.
See, my beauty will be saved by merit. Oh, heresy and fair, fit for these days. A giving hand, though foul, shall have their praise. But come, the bow. Now mercy goes to kill, and shooting well is then accounted ill. Thus will I save my credit in the shoot. Not wounding, pity would not let me do it. If wounding, then it was to show my skill, that more for praise than purpose meant to kill, and out of question, so it is sometimes. Glory grows guilty of detested crimes, when for fame's sake, for praise an outward part, we bend to that the working of the heart, as I for praise alone now seek to spill the poor dear's blood, my heart means no ill.
Ooh, do not cursed wives hold that self-sovereignty only for praise sake when they strive to be lords o'er their lords?
Only for praise, and praise we may afford to any lady that subdues a lord.
Oh, here comes a member of the Commonwealth.
God dig you, den you all. I pray you, which is the head lady?
Thou shalt know her, fellow, by the rest have no heads.
Which is the greatest lady? The highest?
The thickest and the tallest.
The thickest and the tallest. It is so. Truth is truth. And your waist, mistress, were as slender as my whip. One of these maid's girdles for your waist should be fit. Are you not the chief woman? You are the thickest here.
What's your will, sir? What's your will?
I have a letter from Monsieur Baron to one Lady Rosaline. Oh, thy letter, thy letter. He's a good friend of mine. Stand aside, good bearer. Boyette, you can carve. Break up this capon.
I am bound to serve. This letter is mistook. It importeth none here. It is writ to Jaconetta.
We will read it, I swear. Break the neck of the wax, and every one give ear.
By heaven, that thou art fair is most infallible. True, that thou art beauteous, truth itself, that thou art lovely, more fairer than fair, beautiful than beauteous, truer than truth itself. Have commiseration on thy heroical vassal. Shall I commend thy love? I may. Shall I enforce thy love? I could. Shall I entreat thy love? I will. What shalt thou exchange for rags? Robes. For tittles? Titles. For thyself? Me. Thus, expecting thy reply, I profane my lips on thy foot, my eyes on thy picture, and my heart on thy every part. Thine in the dearest design of industry, Don Adriano de Armado.
Oh, what plume of feathers is he that indited this letter? I mean, what bane, what weathercock? Did you ever hear better?
I am much deceived, but I remember the style.
Else your memory is bad, going o'er it erewhile.
This Armado is a Spaniard that keeps here in court, a fantasime, a monarcho, and one that makes sport to the prince and his bookmates.
Thou fellow, a word. Who gave thee this letter? I told you, my lord. To whom shouldst thou give it? From my lord to my lady. From which lord to which lady? From my lord Baron, a good master of mine, to a lady of France that he called Rosaline. Thou hast mistaken this letter. Here, sweet, put up this. 'Twill be another day.
Very reverend sport, truly, and done in the testimony of a good conscience.
The deer was, as you know, sanguis, in blood, ripe as the palm water, who now hangeth like a jewel in the ear of Callio. The sky, the whelk in the heaven, and anon falleth like a crab on the face of Terra, the soil, the land, the earth.
Truly, Master Holofernes, the epithets are sweetly varied, like a scholar at the least. But, sir, I assure ye, it was a buck of the first head.
Sir Nathaniel, odd credo.
Was not a ode great ode, 'twas a pricket.
Most barbarous imitation. In a kind of insinuation, as it were, in via, in way of explication, Thassery, as it were, replication, or rather ostentare, to show, as it were, his inclination after his undressed, unpolished, uneducated, unpruned, untrained, or rather unlettered, or ratherest unconformed fashion, to insert again my odd credo for a deer.
I said the deer was not a ode great ode, 'twas a pricket.
Twice sought simplicity his coctus. Oh, thou monster ignorance, how deformed dost thou look?
Sir, he hath never fed of the dainties that are bred in a book. He hath not eat paper, as it were. He hath not drunk ink. His intellect is not replenished. He's only an animal, only sensible in the duller parts. And such barren plants are set before us that we thankful should be, which we of taste and feeling are, for those parts that do fructify in us more than in he. For as it would ill become me to be vain, indiscreet, or a fool,
So were there a patch set on learning to see him in his school. But omne bene, say I, being of an old father's mind, many can brook the weather that love not the wind. Wind.
You two are bookmen. Tell me by your wit, what was a month old at Cain's birth that's not 5 weeks old as of yet?
Oh, Dictina Goodman Dole. Dictina Goodman Dole.
What is Dictina?
Title to Phoebe?
Mm.
To Luna?
Mm.
The moon?
The moon was a month old when Adam was no more, and wrought not to 5 weeks when he came to 50. The illusion holds in the exchange.
'Tis true indeed. The collusion holds in the exchange.
God comfort thy capacity. I say the illusion holds in the exchange.
And I say the pollution holds in the exchange, for the moon is never but a month old. And I say beside that, 'twas a pricket that the princess killed.
Sir Nathaniel, will you hear an extemporal epitaph on the death of the deer? And to humor the ignorant, call I the deer the princess killed a pricket.
Perge, good Master Holofernes, perge! So it shall please you to abrogate scurrility.
I will something affect the letter, for it argues facility. The prayerful princess pierced and pricked a pretty pleasing pricket. Some say a sore, but not a sore, till now made sore with shooting. The dogs did yell, put L to sore, then sore O, jumps from thicket, or pricket sore, or else sorrow. The people fall a hooting. If sore be sore, then L to sore makes 50 sores, one sore L. Of one sore I an 100 make by adding one more L.
A rare talent!
If a talent be a claw, look how he claws him with a talon.
This is a gift I have. Simple, simple, a foolish, extravagant spirit, full of forms, figures, shapes, objects, ideas, apprehensions, motions, and revolutions. These are begot in the ventricle of memory, nourished in the womb of pia matter, and delivered upon the mellowing of occasion. But the gift is good in those in whom it is acute, and I am thankful for it.
Sir, I praise the Lord for you. And so may my parishioners, for their sons are well tutored by you, and their daughters profit greatly under you. You are a good member of the Commonwealth.
Mer Hercule, if their sons be ingenious, they shall want no instruction. If their daughters be capable, I will put it to them. But versepi qui pacu loquitur. A soul feminine saluted us.
God give you good morrow, Master Parson. A good Master Parson, be so good as read me this letter. It was given me by Costard and sent me from Don Armado. I beseech you, read it.
Let me hear a staff, a stanza, a verse, Luigi Domini.
If love make me forsworn, how shall I swear to love? Ah, never faith could hold, if not to beauty vowed. Though to myself forsworn, to thee all faithful prove. Those thoughts to me were oaks, to thee like osiers bowed. Study his bias leaves, and make his books thine eyes, where all those pleasures live that art would comprehend. If knowledge be the mark, to know thee shall suffice. Well learned is that tongue that well can thee commend, all ignorant that soul that sees thee without wonder, which is to me some praise that I thy parts admire. Thy eye Jove's lightning bears, thy voice his dreadful thunder, which not to anger bent is music and sweet fire. Celestial as thou art, oh pardon love this wrong, that sings heaven's praise with such unearthly tongue.
Damosella Virgin, was this directed to you?
Aye, sir, from one Monsieur Baron, one of the strange queen's lords.
I will overglance the superscript. To the snow-white hand of the most beauteous Lady Rosaline. I will look again on the intellect of the letter for the nomination of the party writing to the person written unto. Your ladyship's in all desired employment, Baron. Sir Nathaniel, this Baron is one of the votaries with the king, and here he hath framed a letter to a sequent of the stranger's queen, which accidentally or by way of progression hath miscarried. Trip and go, my sweet. Deliver this paper unto the royal hand of the king. It may concern much. It may concern much. Stay not thy compliment. I forgive thy duty. Adieu.
Good costard, go with me. Sir, God save your life.
Have with thee, my girl.
Sir, you have done this in the fear of God very religiously, and as a certain father saith.
Sir, tell me not of the father. I do fear colorable colors. But to return to the verses, did they please you, Sir Nathaniel?
Marvelous well for the pen.
I do dine today at the father's of a certain pupil of mine, where if before repast it shall please you to gratify the table with a grace, I will, on my privilege I have with the parents of foresaid child or pupil, undertaken your venuto, where I will prove these verses to be very unlearned, neither savoring of poetry, wit, nor invention. I beseech your society.
And thank you too, for society, saith the text, is the happiness of life.
And certes the text most infallibly concludes it. Sir, I do invite you too. You shall not say me nay. Pulca verba, away! The gentles are at their game, and we will to our recreation.
I will not love. If I do, hang me. In faith, I will not. Oh, but her eye. By this light, but for her eye, I would not love her. Yes, but for her 2 eyes. Well, I do nothing in the world but lie, and lie in my throat. Oh, by heaven, I do love, and it hath taught me to rhyme and to be melancholy. And here is part of my rhyme, and here my melancholy. Well, she hath one of my sonnets already. The clown bore it, the fool sent it, and the lady hath it. Sweet clown, sweeter fool, sweetest lady. Oh, by the world, I would not care a pin if the other 3 were in. Oh, here comes one with a paper. God give him grace to groan.
Ay, me. So sweet a kiss the golden sun gives not to those fresh morning drops upon the rose as thy eye beams, when their fresh rays have smote the night of dew that on my cheeks down flows. Nor shines the silver moon one half so bright through the transparent bosom of the deep as thy face through tears of mine give light. Thou shinest in every tear that I do weep. No drop but as a coach doth carry thee. So ridest thou triumphing in my woe. Do but behold the tears that swell in me, and they thy glory through my grief will show. But do not love thyself, then thou wilt keep my tears for glasses, and still make me weep. Oh, Queen of Queens, how far dost thou excel? Oh, no thought can think, nor tongue of mortal tell. How shall she know my griefs? I'll drop the paper. Sweet leaves shade folly. Who is he who comes here? What? Longaville? And reading? Listen, ear.
Now, in thy likeness, one more fool appear.
Am I the first that have been perjured so? I fear these stubborn lines lack power to move. Oh, sweet Maria, empress of my love, these numbers will I tear and write in prose. This same shall go. Did not the heavenly rhetoric of thine eye, 'gainst whom the world cannot hold argument, persuade my heart to this false perjury? Vows for thee broke deserve not punishment. A woman I forswore, but I will prove, thou being a goddess, I forswore not thee. My vow was earthly, thou a heavenly love. Thy grace being gained cures all disgrace in me. Vows are but breath, and breath a vapor is. Then thou, fair sun, which on my earth dost shine, exhalest this vapor vow. In thee it is. If broken, then, it is no fault of mine. If by me broke, what fool is not so wise to lose an oath to win a paradise? By whom shall I send this? Company, stay.
Oh heavens, I have my wish, domain transformed, for woodcocks in a dish.
Oh, most divine Kate, by heaven the wonder in a mortal eye. Her amber hair for foul hath amber quoted. As upright as the cedar, as fair as the day. Oh, that I had my wish. Once more, I'll read the ode that I have writ. On a day, alack the day, love whose month is ever May, spied a blossom passing fair, playing in the wanton air. Through the velvet leaves the wind all unseen can passage find, that the lover, sick to death, wish himself the heaven's breath. Ere, quoth he, thy cheeks may blow, ere would I my triumph sow. But alack, my hand is sworn, ne'er to pluck thee from thy thorn. Vow, alack, for youth unmeet, youth so apt to pluck a sweet. Do not call it sin in me, that I am forsworn for thee. This will I send in something else more plain, that should express my true love's fasting pain. Oh, would that the king, Barone, and Longueville were lovers too. Ill to example, ill would from my forehead wipe a perjured note. For none offend where all alike do dote.
Dumaine, thy love is far from charity. You may look pale, but I should blush. I know to be o'erheard and taken napping so.
Come, sir, you blush, as your case is such. You chided him, offending twice as much. I have been closely shrouded in this bush, and marked you both, and for you both did blush. Oh, I heard your guilty rhymes, observed your fashion, saw sighs reek from you, noted well your passion. Ay me, says one. Oh, Jove, the other cries. One, her hairs were gold, crystal, the other's eyes. You would for paradise break faith and troth, and for Jove and for love would infringe your oath. What will Barone say when that he shall hear fate so infringed, with such zeal did swear? How will he scorn? How will he spend his wit? How will he triumph, leap and laugh at it? For all the wealth that ever I did see, I would not have him know so much by me.
Ah, my good liege, I pray thee, pardon me. Good heart, what grace hast thou, thus to reprove these worms for loving, that art most in love? Your eyes do make no coaches. In your tears there is no certain princess that appears. Do not be perjured, 'tis a hateful thing. 'Tis none but minstrels like of sonneting. But are you not ashamed? Nay, are you not all three of you to be thus much o'ershot? You found his moat, the king your moat did see, but I a beam do find in each of three. What a scene of foolery have I seen, of sighs, of groans, of sorrow, and of teen. Oh me, with what strict patience have I sat to see a king transformed to a gnat, to see great Hercules whipping a gig, and profound Solomon to tune a jig. Where lies thy grief? Oh, tell me, good Dumaine, and gentle Longueville, where lies thy pain? And where's my lieges? All about the breast? A coddle, ho!
Too bitter is thy jest. Are we betrayed thus to thy overview?
Not you to me, but I betrayed by you. I that am honest. I that hold it sin to break the vow I am engaged in. I am betrayed by keeping company with men like men of inconstancy. When shall you see me write a thing in rhyme, or groan for love, or spend a minute's time in pruning me? When shall you hear that I will praise a hand, a foot, a face, an eye, a gait, a state, a brow, a breast, a waist, a leg, a limb?
God bless the king.
What present hast thou there?
Some certain treason.
What makes treason here?
I beseech your grace, let this letter be read. Our parson misdoubts it. 'Twas treason, he said.
Barone, read it over. Where hadst thou it?
Of costard.
Where hadst thou it?
Of Dung Armada? Dong Armadillo?
How now? What is in you? Why dost thou tear it?
A toy, my liege, a toy. Your grace need not fear it.
It did move him to passion, and therefore let's hear it.
Mm-hmm. It is Barone's writing, and here is his name.
Oh, you whoreson loggerhead, you were born to do me shame. Guilty, my lord, guilty. I confess.
What?
That you three fools lacked me, fool, to make up the mess. He, and you, my liege, and I are pickpurses in love, and we deserve to die. Oh, dismiss this audience, and I shall tell you more.
Now the number is even.
True, we are four. Will these turtles be gone?
In, sirs, away.
Walk aside, the true folk. Let the traitors stay.
Sweet lords, sweet lovers, oh, let us embrace. As true we are as flesh and blood can be. The sea will ebb and flow, heaven show his face. Young blood doth not obey an old decree. We cannot cross the cause why we were born. Therefore, of all hands must we be forsworn.
What, did these rent lines show some love of thine?
Did they, quoth you? Who sees the heavenly Rosaline, bows not his vassal head and stricken blind, kisses the base ground with obedient breast? What peremptory, eagle-sighted eye dares not look upon the heaven of her brow that is not blinded by her majesty?
What zeal, what fury hath inspired thee now? My love, her mistress, is a gracious moon, she an attending star, scarce seen a light.
My eyes are then no eyes, nor I Barone. Oh, but for my love, day would turn to night. Your mistresses dare never come in rain, for fear their color should be washed away.
'Twere good yours did, for, sir, to tell you plain, I'll find a fairer face not washed today.
I'll prove her fair, or talk till doomsday here.
No devil will fright thee then so much as she.
I never knew man hold vile stuff so dear.
Look, here's thy love, my foot and her face see.
Oh, if the streets were paved with thine eyes, her feet were much too dainty for such tread.
Oh, vile! Then, as she goes, what upward lies the street should see as she walked overhead.
But what of this? Are we all not in love?
Nothing so sure. Then thereby all forsworn.
Then leave this chat. And good Barone, now prove our loving faithful, and our faith not torn.
Aye, marry there. Some flattery for this evil.
Oh, some authority how to proceed. Some tricks, some quillets, how to cheat the devil.
Some salve for perjury.
'Tis more than need. Have at you then, affection's men at arms. Consider what you first did swear unto, to fast, to study, and to see no woman. Flat treason against the kingly state of youth. Say, can you fast? Your stomachs are too young, and abstinence engenders maladies. And where that you have vowed to study, lords, in that each of you have forsworn his book, can you still dream and pore and thereon look? For when would you, my lord, or you, have found the ground of study's excellence without the beauty of a woman's face? Now, for not looking on a woman's face, you have in that forsworn the use of eyes, and study too, the causer of your vow. For where is any author in the world teaches such beauty as a woman's eye? Learning is but an adjunct to ourselves, and where we are, our learning likewise is. Then we ourselves, we see in ladies' eyes. Do we not likewise see our learning there? Oh, we have made a vow to study, lords, and in that vow we have forsworn our books. For when would you, my liege, or you, in leaden contemplation have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutors have enriched you with. Other slow arts entirely keep the brain, and therefore, finding barren practicers scarce show a harvest of their heavy toil. But love, first learned in a lady's eyes, lives not alone immured in the brain, but with the motion of all elements, courses as swift as thought in every power, and gives to every power a double power above their functions and their offices. It adds a precious seeing to the eye. A lover's eyes will gaze an eagle blind. A lover's ear will hear the lowest sound when the suspicious head of theft is stopped. And when love speaks, the voice of all the gods makes heaven drowsy with a harmony. Never durst poet touch a pen to write until his ink were tempered with love's sighs. Oh, then his lines would ravish savage ears and plant in tyrants mild humility. From women's eyes this doctrine I derive. They sparkle still the right Promethean fire. They are the books, the arts, the academes that show, contain, and nourish all the world. Else none at all proves excellent. Else none at all in aught proves excellent. Then fools you were these women to forswear, or, keeping what is sworn, you will prove fools for wisdom's sake, a word that all men love. Or for love's sake, a word that loves all men. Or for men's sake, the authors of these women. Or women's sake, by whom we men are men. Let us lose our oaths to find ourselves, or else we lose ourselves to keep our oaths. It is religion to be thus forsworn, for charity itself fulfills the law, and who can sever love from charity?
Saint Cupid, then, and soldiers to the field.
Advance your standards, and upon them, lords, pell-mell, down with them. But be first advised in conflict that you get the son of them.
Yet now to plain dealing, ladies' gloses by, shall we resolve to woo these girls of France?
And win them too. Therefore let us devise some entertainment for them in their tents.
First, from the park let us conduct them thither, then homeward every man attach the hand of his fair mistress. In the afternoon we will with some strange pastime solace them, such as the shortness of the time can shape, for revels, dances, masks, and merry hours, for run fair love, strewing her way with flowers.
Away, away! No time shall be omitted that will betime and may by us be fitted.
Satis quodo sufficit.
I praise God for you, sir. Your reasons at dinner have been sharp and sententious, pleasant without scurrility, witty without affection, audacious without impudency, learned without opinion, and strange without heresy. I did converse this quondam day with a companion of the king's, who is entitled, nominated, or called Don Adriano de Armado.
Nuvi hominem tonquam te. His humor is lofty, his discourse peremptory, his tongue filed, his eye ambitious, his gait majestical, and his general behavior vain, ridiculous, and transonical. He is too picked, too spruce, too affected, too odd, as it were too ingrate. Too ingrate, as I may call it.
A most singular and choice epithet.
he draweth out the thread of his verbosity finer than the staple of his argument. Oh, I abhor such fantastical phantasmies, such insociable and point-devised companions. such rackers of orthography are abominable, which he would call abominable. It insinuated me of insanity to make frantic lunatic.
Tira!
Quare, Tira. Not Tira?
Men of peace, well encountered.
Most military, sir. Salutation.
They have been at a great feast of languages and stolen the scraps.
Oh, they have lived long on the alms basket of words. I marvel that thy master hath not eaten thee for a word, for thou art not so long by the head as honorific abilitudinate catabits. Thou art easier swallowed than a flapjack.
Monsieur, are you not lettered? Do you not educate youth at the charge house on the top of the mountain?
I do, sans question.
Sir, it is the king's most sweet pleasure and affection to congratulate the princess at her pavilion in the posteriors of this day, which the rude multitude call the afternoon.
The posterior of the day. Most generous, sir, is liable, congruent, and measurable for the afternoon. The word is well called, chose, sweet, and apt. I do assure you, sir, I do assure.
Sir, the king is a noble gentleman and my familiar, I do assure you, very good friend. For what is inward between us, let it pass. I do beseech thee, remember thy courtesy. I beseech thee, apparel thy head, and amongst other important and most serious designs, and of great import indeed too, but let that pass, for I must tell thee, it will please his grace by the world sometime to lean upon my poor shoulder, and with his royal finger thus dally with my excrement, with my mustachio. But, sweetheart, let that pass. The very all of all is, but sweetheart, I do implore secrecy, that the king would have me present the princess, sweet Chuck, with some delightful ostentation or show or pageant or antic or firework. Now, understanding that the curate and your sweet self are good at such eruptions and sudden breaking out of mirth, as it were, I have acquainted you with all, to the end to crave your assistance.
Sir, you shall present before her the 9 worthies.
Oh, yes.
Sir, as concerning some entertainment of time, some show in the posterior of this day to be rendered by assistance at the king's command, and this most gallant, illustrious, and learned gentleman before the princess. I say none so fit as to present the 9 worthies.
Where will you find men worthy enough to present them?
Oh, Joshua, yourself, myself, and this gallant gentleman, Judas Maccabeus. This swain, because of his great limb or joint, shall pass Pompey the Great, and the page Hercules.
Pardon, sir, error. He is not quantity enough for that worthy's thumb. He is not so big as the end of his club.
Shall I have audience? He shall present Hercules in minority. His enter and exit shall be strangling a snake, and he will have an apology for that purpose.
An excellent device, so if any of the audience hiss, you may cry, "Well done, Hercules, now thou crushest the snake." That is the way to make an offense gracious, though few have the grace to do it.
For the rest of the worthies?
I will play 3 myself.
Thrice worthy gentleman.
Shall I tell you a thing?
We attend.
We will have, if this fads not, an antic. I beseech you, follow.
Via, Goodman Dole, thou hast spoken no word all this while.
Or understood none neither, sir.
Allons, we will employ thee.
I'll make one in a dance, or so. I will play on the tabor to the worthies, and let them dance the hay.
Most dull, honest dull, to our sport.
Sweethearts, we shall be rich ere we depart, if fairings come thus plentifully in. A lady walled about with diamonds. Look, you what I have from the loving king.
Madam, came nothing else along with that?
Nothing but this. Yes, as much love in rhyme as would be crammed up in a sheet of paper, writ on both sides of the leaf, margent and all, that he was fain to still on Cupid's name. But, Rosaline, you have a favor too. Who sent it, and what is it?
I would you knew, as in if my face were but as fair as yours, my favor were as great. Be witness this. Nay, I have verses too. I thank Barone. The number's true, and were the numbering too, I were the fairest goddess on the ground. I am compared to 20,000 fairs. Oh, he hath drawn my picture in this letter.
Anything like?
Much in the letters, nothing in the praise.
Oh, beauteous as ink. A good conclusion.
Fair as a text be in a copybook.
But Catherine, what was sent to you from fair Dumaine?
Madam, this, and moreover, some 1,000 verses of a faithful lover, a huge translation of hypocrisy, vilely compiled, profound simplicity.
This and these pearls to me sent long of ill. The letter is too long by half a mile.
I think no less. Dost thou not wish in heart the chain were longer and the letter short?
I or I would these hands might never part.
We are wise girls to mock our lovers so.
They are worse fools to purchase mocking so. That same Barone I'll torture ere I go. So pursuant like would I o'ersway his state, that he should be my fool, and I his fate.
None are so surely caught when they are catched, as wit turned fool, folly in wisdom hatched. Hath wisdom's warrant and the help of school, and wit's own grace to grace a learned fool.
The blood of youth burns not with such excess as gravity's revolt to wantonness.
Folly in fools bears not so strong a note as foolery in the wise when wit doth dote, since all the power thereof it doth apply to prove by wit worth in simplicity.
Oh, here comes Boyette, and mirth is in her face.
Stabbed with laughter. Where's her grace?
My news, Boyette.
Prepare, madam, prepare. Arm, wenches, arm. Encounters mounted are against your peace. Love doth approach disguised, armed in arguments. You'll be surprised. Muster your wits, stand in your own defense, or hide your heads like cowards and fly hence.
Oh, St. Dennis to St. Cupid! What are they that chart their breath against us? Say, scout, say.
Under the cool shade of a sycamore, I thought to close mine eyes for some half an hour, when lo, to interrupt my purposed rest toward that shade, I might behold addressed the king and his companions. Warily I stole into a neighbor thicket and overheard what you shall overhear, that by and by, disguised, they will be here. Their herald is a pretty, knavish page that well by heart hath conned his embassage. Action and accent did they teach him there? Thus must thou speak, and thus thy body bear. For, quoth the king, an angel shalt thou see. Yet fear not thou, but speak audaciously. The boy replied, an angel is not evil. I should have feared her had she been a devil. With that, they all laughed and clapped him on the shoulder. Making the bold wag by their praises bolder, one rubbed his elbow thus and fleered and swore. A better speech was never heard before. Another with his finger and his thumb cried, Via, we will do it. Come what will come. The third capered and cried, all goes well. And the fourth turned on his toe and down he fell. And with that, they all did tumble to the ground with such zealous laughter, so profound, that in his spleen ridiculous appears to check their folly, passion's solemn tears.
But what come they to visit us?
They do, and are apparelled thus like Muscovites or Russians, as I guess. Their purpose is to parle, to court and dance, and everyone his love feet will advance unto his several mistress, which they'll know by favors, several which they did bestow.
And will they so? The gallants shall be tasked. For ladies, we shall every one be masked. And not a man of them shall have the grace, despite of suit, to see a lady's face. Hold, Rosaline, this favor thou shalt wear, and then the king will court thee for his dear. Hold, take thou this, my sweet, and give me thine. So shall Baron take me for Rosaline, and change your favors too. So shall your loves woo contrary, deceived by these removes.
Come on, then. Where the favors most in sight.
But in this changing, what is your intent?
The effect of my intent is to cross theirs. They do it but in mocking merriment, and mock for mock is only my intent. Their several counsels they unbosom shall to loves mistook, and so be mocked withal upon the next occasion that we meet, with visages displayed to talk and greet.
Why, that contempt will kill the speaker's heart and quite divorce his memory from his part.
Therefore I do it, and I'd make no doubt the rest will ne'er come in. If he be out, there's no such sport as sport by sport overthrown. To make theirs ours, and ours none be our own. So shall we stay, mocking intended gain, and they, well mocked, depart away with shame.
The trumpet sounds, be masked, the maskers come.
All hail the richest beauties on the earth, a holy parcel of the fairest dames that ever turned their backs to mortal views.
Their eyes, villain, their eyes.
That ever turned their eyes to mortal views. Out of your favors, heavenly spirits, vouchsafe not to behold.
Once to behold, rogue.
Once to behold with your sunbeamed eyes.
They will not answer to that epithet. You had best call it daughter-beamed eyes.
They do not mark me, and that brings me out.
Is this your perfectness? Begone, you rogue.
What would these strangers? Know their minds, boyet. If they do speak our language, 'tis our will that some plain man recount their purposes, know that they would.
What would you with the princesses?
Nothing but peace and gentle visitation.
What would they, say they?
Nothing but peace and gentle visitation.
Why, that they have, and bid them so be gone.
She says you have it, and you may be gone.
Say to her, we have measured many miles to tread a measure with her on this grass.
They say that they've measured many a mile to tread a measure with you on the grass.
No, it is not so. Ask them how many inches is in 1 mile. If they have measured many, the measure, then, of one is easily told.
If to come hither you have measured miles, and many miles, The princess bids you tell how many inches doth fill up 1 mile.
Tell her we measure them by weary steps.
She hears herself.
How many weary steps of many weary miles you have o'ergone are numbered in the travel of 1 mile.
We number nothing that we spend for you. Our duty is so rich, so infinite, that we may do it still without account. Vouchsafe to show the sunshine of your face, that we, like savages, may worship it.
My face is but a moon, and clouded too.
Blessed are clouds to do as such clouds do. Vouchsafe, bright moon, and these thy stars to shine, those clouds removed upon our watery eyne.
O vain petitioner, beg a greater matter. Thou now requestest but moonshine in the water.
Then in our measure do but vouchsafe one change. Thou bidst me beg, this begging is not strange. Will you not dance? How come you thus estranged?
You took the moon at full, but now she's changed. Since you are strangers and come here by chance, will not be nice. Take hands, we will not dance.
Why we take hands then?
Only to part friends. Curtsy, sweethearts, and so the measure ends.
If you deny to dance, let's hold more chat.
In private then.
I am best pleased with that.
White-handed mistress, one sweet word with thee.
Honey, milk, and sugar. Well, there is 3.
One word in secret.
Let it not be sweet.
Thou grievest my gall.
Gall! Oh, bitter.
Therefore meet.
Will you vouchsafe with me to change a word?
Name it.
Fair lady.
Say you so? Fair lord, take that for your fair lady.
Please it you as much in private, and I'll bid adieu.
What? Was your vizard made without a tongue?
I know the reason, lady. Why you ask?
Oh, for your reason. Quickly, sir, I long.
Oh, you have a double tongue within your mask, and would afford my speechless wizard half.
The tongues of mocking wenches are as keen as the razor's edge invisible, cutting a smaller hair than may be seen, above the sense of sense, so sensible seemeth their conference. Their conceits have wings fleeter than arrows, bullets, wind, thought, swifter things.
Not one word more, my maids. Break off.
By heaven, all dry beaten with pure scoff.
Farewell, mad wenches, you have simple wits.
20 adieus, my frozen Muscovits.
Are these breed of wits so wondered at?
Tapers they are, with your sweet breasts puffed out.
Well-liking wits they have. Gross, gross, fat, fat.
Oh, in poverty, in wit, kingly poor flout. Will they not think you hang themselves tonight? Or ever, but in vizards show their faces? This pert Barone was out of countenance quite.
They were all in lamentable cases. The king was weeping ripe for a good word.
Barone did swear himself out of all suit.
Dumaine was at my service, and his sword no point. Quoth I, my servant straight was mute.
Lord Longaville said, I came o'er his heart, and trow you what he called me?
Qualm, perhaps?
Yes, in good faith.
Go, sickness as thou art!
Well, better wits have worn plain statute caps. But will you hear? The king is my love sworn.
And quick,
Barone hath plighted faith to me.
And Longaville was for my service born.
Dumaine is mine, as sure as bark on tree.
Madam and pretty mistresses, give ear. Immediately they will again be here in their own shapes, for it can never be that they will digest this harsh indignity.
Will they return?
They will, God knows, and leap for joy, though they are lame with blows. Therefore change favors. And when they repair, blow like sweet roses in this summer air.
What shall we do if they return in their own shapes to woo?
Good madam, if by me you'll be advised, let's mock them still, as well known as disguised. Let us complain to them what fools were here, disguised like Muscovites in shapeless gear, and wonder what they were, and to what end their shallow shows and prologue vilely penned, and their rough carriage so ridiculous should be presented at our tents to us.
Ladies, withdraw. The gallants are at hand.
Oh, whip to our tents, as rows run o'er land.
Fair lady, God save you. Where's the princess?
Gone to her tent. Please at your majesty command me any service to her thither.
Well, that she vouchsafe me audience for one word.
I will, and so will she. I know, my lord.
This lady pecks up wit as pigeons peas, and utters it again when God doth please. She is wit's peddler, and retails her wares at wakes and wassels, meetings, markets, fairs. And we that sell by gross, the Lord doth know, have not the grace to grace it with such show. She can carve too, and lisp. Why, this is she that kissed her hand away in courtesy. This is the ape of form, Monsieur the Nice, that when she plays at tables, chides the dice in honorable terms. Nay, she can sing a mean most meanly, and in ushering mend him who can. The ladies call her sweet. The stairs, as she treads on them, kiss her feet. This is the flower that smiles on every one, to show her teeth as white as whale's bone, and consciences that will not die in debt pay him the due of honey-tongued boyette.
A blister on her sweet tongue with my heart that put Armado's page out of his part. All hail, sweet madam, and fair time of day.
Fair in all hail is foul, as I conceive.
Construe my speeches better, if you may.
Then wish me better. I will give you leave.
We came to visit you, and purpose now to lead you to our court. Vouchsafe it then.
This field shall hold me, and so hold your vow. Nor God nor I delights in perjured men.
Oh, rebuke me not for that which you provoke. The virtue of your eye must break my oath.
You nickname virtue. Vice you should have spoke, for virtue's office never breaks men's troth. Now, by my maiden honor, yet as pure as the unsullied lily I protest. A world of torments, though I should endure, I would not yield to be your house's guest. So much I hate a breaking cause to be of heavenly oaths, vowed with integrity.
Oh, you have lived in desolation here, unseen, unvisited, much to our shame.
Not so, my lord. It is not so, I swear. We have had pastimes here, and pleasant a game. A mess of Russians left us but of late.
How, madam? Russians?
Aye. In truth, my lord, trim gallants, full of courtship and of state.
Madam, speak true. It is not so, my lord. My lady to the manner of the days in courtesy gives undeserving praise. In Russian's habit, Here they stayed an hour and talked apace, and in that hour, my lord, they did not bless us with one happy word. I dare not call them fools, but this I think, when they are thirsty, fools would fain have drink.
And now this jest is dry to me. Fair gentle sweet, your wit makes wise things foolish when we greet with eyes best seeing, heaven's fiery eye. By light we lose light. Your capacity is of that nature that to your huge store wise things seem foolish and rich things but poor.
This proves you wise and rich, for in my eye...
I am a fool and full of poverty.
But that you take what doth to you belong, it were a fault to snatch words from my tongue.
Oh, I am yours and all that I possess.
All the fool, mine?
I cannot give you less.
Which of the vizards was it that you wore?
Where? When? What vizard? Why demand you this?
Oh, there, then, that vizard, that superfluous case that hid the worse and showed the better face.
Amazed, my lord. Why looks your highness sad?
Help! Hold his brows, he'll swoon. Why look you pale? Seasick? I think coming from Muscovy?
Thus, pour the stars down plagues for perjury. Can any face of brass hold longer out? Here stand I, lady. Dart thy skill at me. Bruise me with scorn. Confound me with a flout. Thrust thy sharp wit quite through my ignorance. Cut me to pieces with thy keen conceit, and I will wish thee never more to dance, nor never more in Russian habit wait. Oh, never will I trust to speeches penned, nor to the motion of a schoolboy's tongue, nor never come in vizard to my friend, nor woo in rhyme like a blind harper's song. Taffeta phrases, silken terms precise, three-piled hyperboles, spruce affectation, figures pedantical, these summer flies have blown me full of maggot ostentation. I do forswear them. And I here protest by this white glove, how white the hand, God knows. Henceforth my wooing mind shall be expressed in russet yeas and honest cursey nose. And to begin, wench, so God help me, la, my love to thee is sound, sans crack or flaw.
Sans, oh, I pray you.
Peace, for I will not have to do with you.
Nor shall not, if I do as I intend.
Speak for yourselves, my wit is at an end.
Teach us, sweet madam, for our rude transgression some fair excuse.
The fairest is confession. Were not you here, but even now, disguised?
Madam, I was.
And were you well advised?
I was, fair madam.
When then you were here, what did you whisper in your lady's ear?
That more than all the world I did respect her.
When she shall challenge this, you will reject her.
Upon mine honor, no.
Peace forbear. Your oath once broke. You force not to forswear.
Despise me when I break this oath of mine.
I will, and therefore keep it. Rosaline, what did the Russian whisper in your ear?
Madam, he swore that he did hold me dear, as precious eyesight, and did value me above this world, adding thereto, moreover, that he would wed me, or else die my lover.
God give thee joy of him, the noble lord most honorably doth unhold his word.
What mean you, madam, by my life, my troth? I never swore this lady such an oath.
By heaven, you did.
And Lord Baron, I think him is my dear.
Oh, now to our perjury to add more terror. We are again forsworn in will and error. Much upon this it is. And might not you forestall our support to make us thus untrue? Do not you know my lady's foot by the squire, and laugh upon the apple of her eye, and stand between her back then and the fire, holding a trencher, jesting merrily? You put our page out. Go, you are allowed. Die when you will, a smock shall be your shroud. You leer upon me, do you? There's an eye wounds like a leaden sword.
Oh, merrily hath this brave manage, this career been run.
Lo, she is tilting straight. Peace, I have done. Welcome, pure wit. Thou partest a fair fray.
Lord, sir, they would know whether the three worthies shall come in or no.
What? Are there but three?
No, sir, but it is verifying for everyone presents three.
And 3 times thrice is 9.
Not so, sir. Under correction, sir. I hope it is not so. You cannot beg us, sir. I can assure you, we know what we know. I hope, sir. 3 times 3, sir,
is not 9.
Under correction, sir. We know where until it doth amount.
By Jove, I always took 3 threes for 9.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, sir. It were pity you should get your living by reckoning, sir.
How much is it?
Well, Lord, sir, the parties themselves, the actors, sir, will show whereuntil it doth amount. For mine own part, I am, as they say, but to perfect one man in one poor man. Pompey and the Great, sir.
Art thou one of the worthies?
It pleased them to think of me worthy of Pompey and the Great. But for mine own part, I know not the degree of the worthy, but I am to stand for him.
Go, bid them prepare.
We will turn it finely off, sir. We will take some care.
Barone, they will shame us. Let them not approach.
We are shame-proof, my lord, and 'tis some policy to have one show worse than the king's and his company.
Oh! I say they shall not come.
Nay, my good lord, let me o'errule you now. That sport best pleases that doth least know how, where zeal strives to content, and the contents die in the zeal of that which it presents. Their form confounded makes most form in mirth, when great slavery perish in their birth.
A right description of our sport, my lord.
Anointed, I implore so much expense of thy royal sweet breath as will utter a brace of words.
Doth this man serve God?
Why, ask you?
He speaks not like a man of God's making.
That is all one, my fair, sweet, honey monarch, for, I protest, the schoolmaster is exceeding fantastical, too vain, too vain. But we will put it, as they say, to Fortuna de la Guerra. I wish you the peace of mind, most royal compliment.
Here is like to be a good presence of worthies. He presents Hector of Troy, the swain, Pompey the Great, the parish curate, Alexander, Armado's page is Hercules, and the pedant, Judas Maccabeus.
Yeah.
And if these 4 worthies in their first show thrive, these 4 will change habits and present the other 5.
But there is 5 in the first show.
You are deceived. 'Tis not so.
Oh, the pedant, the braggart, the hedge priest, the fool, and the boy.
The ship is under sail, and here she comes amain.
I, Pompey, Pompey,
surnamed the Big.
The Great.
It is great, sir.
Pompey, surnamed the Great, that often field with targe and shield, did make my foe to sweat, and traveling along this coast, I hear him come by chance and lay my arms before the legs of this sweet lass of France. If your ladyship would say, thanks, Pompey, I had done.
Great, thanks, great, Pompey!
'Tis not so much worth, but I hope I was perfect. I made a little fault in great.
My hat to a halfpenny. Pompey proves the best worthy.
When in the world I lived, I was the world's commander. By east and west and north and south I spread my conquering might. My scutcheon plain declares that I am Alexander.
Most true, 'tis right, you were so, Alexander.
Pompey the Great.
Your servant, and custard.
Your servant?
And custard.
Take away the conqueror. Take away Alexander.
Oh, sir, you have overthrown Alexander the Conqueror.
A conqueror? And afeard to speak? Oh, run away, Alexander. Run away for shame, Alexander.
There, aunt shall please you. Foolish mild man, an honest man, look you, and soon dashed. He's a marvelous good neighbor, faith, and a very good bowler. But for Alexander...
Alas, you see how 'tis. Little or parted, but there are worthies a coming. Will speak their mind in some other sort.
Great! Hercules is presented by this imp, whose club killed Servius, that three-headed Canis. And when he was a babe, a child, a shrimp, thus he did strangle serpents in his manus. Quonium he seemeth in minority. Ergo I come with this apology. Keep some state in thy exit and vanish. Judas I am.
A Judas!
Not Iscariot, sir. Judas I am. Ye clipped Maccabeus.
And Maccabeus.
Judas Maccabeus clipped is plain Judas.
A kissing traitor. How art thou proved, Judas?
That is not generous, not gentle, not humble.
Light for Monsieur Judas, it grows dark, he may stumble.
Alas, poor Maccabeus, how hath he been baited?
Hide thy head, Achilles. Here comes Hector in arms.
Though my mocks come home by me, I will now be merry.
Hector was but a Trojan in respect of this.
What is this, Hector?
I think Hector was not so clean timbered.
His leg is too big for Hector's.
More calf, certain.
He, the omnipotent Mars of Lances the Almighty, gave Hector a gift The heir of Ilion, a man so breathed that certain he would fight, yea, from morn till night, out of his pavilion. I am that flower.
That mint.
That Columbine.
Sweet Lord Longaville, rein thy tongue. The sweet war man is dead and rotten. Sweet chucks, beat not the bones of the buried. When he breathed, he was a man. But I will forward with my device. Oh, sweet royalty, bestow on me the sense of hearing.
Speak, brave Hector. We are much delighted.
Oh, I do adore thy sweet grace as a slipper.
Loves her by the foot.
May not by the yard.
This Hector, for surmounted Hannibal.
The party is gone, fellow Hector. She is gone. She is 2 months on her way.
What meanest thou?
Faith, unless you play the honest Trojan, the poor wench is cast away. She's quick. The child brags in her belly already. 'Tis yours.
What dost thou infamilize me among potentates? Thou shalt die.
Then shall Hector be whipped for Jaquinetta, who that is quick by him, and hanged for Pompey, that is dead by him.
Rare Pompey.
Renowned Pompey.
Greater than great Pompey. Pompey the huge.
Her trembles.
Pompey is moved. Stir them on.
I will challenge him.
By the North Pole, I challenge thee.
I will not fight with a pole. Like another man, I'll slash. I'll do it by the sword. I pray you, let me borrow my arms again.
Room for the incensed worthies.
I'll do it in my shirt.
Master, let me take you a buttonhole lower. Do you not see Pompey's uncasing for the combat? What mean you? You will lose your reputation.
Gentlemen and soldiers, pardon me, I will not combat in my shirt.
You may not deny it. Pompey hath made the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet blood, I both may and will.
What reason have you for it?
The naked truth of it is, I have no shirt. I go woolward for penance.
True, and it was enjoined him in Rome for want of linen, since when I'll be sworn he wore none but a dishcloth of Jaconettas. Where next to his heart for favor.
What save you, madam?
Oh, welcome, Mercad, but thou interruptest our merriment.
I am sorry, madam, for the news I bring is heavy in my tongue. The king, your father...
Dead? For my life.
Even so, my tale is told.
Worthies away. The scene begins to cloud.
How fares your majesty?
Boyette, prepare. I will away tonight.
Madam, not so. I do beseech you, stay.
Prepare, I say. I thank you, gracious lords, for all your fair endeavors, and entreat out of a new sad soul that you vouchsafe in your rich wisdom to excuse or hide the liberal opposition of our spirits. If overboldly we have borne ourselves in the converse of breath, your gentleness was guilty of it. Farewell, worthy lord. A heavy heart bears not a nimble tongue. Excuse me so, coming too short of thanks for my great suit so easily obtained.
The extreme parts of time extremely forms all causes to the purpose of his speed. and often at his very loose decides that which long process could not arbitrate. And though the morning brow of progeny forbid the smiling courtesy of love, the holy suit which fain it would convince yet, since love's argument was first on foot. Let not the cloud of sorrow justle it from what it purposed, since to wail friends lost is not by much so wholesome profitable as to rejoice at friends but newly found.
I understand you not. My griefs are double.
Honest, plain words best pierce the ear of grief. And by these badges understand the king. For your fair sakes have we neglected time, played foul with your oaths. Your beauty, ladies, has much deformed us, fashioning our humors even to the opposed end of our intents. Therefore, ladies, our love being yours, the error that love makes is likewise yours. We to ourselves prove false, by being once false forever to be true to those that make us both, fair ladies, you. And even that falsehood, in itself a sin, thus purifies itself and turns to grace.
We have received your letters of love, your favors, the ambassadors of love, and in our maiden council rated them at courtship pleasant jest and courtesy, as bombast and as lining to the time. But more devout than this, in our respects, have we not been, and therefore met your loves in their own fashion, like a merriment.
Our letters, madam, showed much more than jest.
So did our looks.
We did not quote them so.
Now, at the latest minute of the hour, grant us your loves.
A time, methinks, too short to make a world without end bargain in. No, my lord, your grace is perjured much, full of dear guiltiness, and therefore this, if for my love, as there is no such cause, you will do aught, this shall you do for me. Your oath I will not trust, but go with speed to some forlorn and naked hermitage, remote from all the pleasures of the world. There, stay until the 12 celestial signs have brought about the annual reckoning. If this austere and sociable life change not your offer made in the heat of blood, if frosts and fasts, hard lodging, and thin weeds nip not the gaudy blossoms of your love, but that it bear this trial and last love, then, at the expiration of the year, come, challenge me. Challenge me by these deserts, and by this virgin palm now kissing thine. I will be thine. Until that instant, shut my woeful self up in a mourning house, raining the tears of lamentation for the remembrance of my father's death. If this thou do deny, let our hands part, neither entitled in the other's heart.
If this, or more than this, I would deny to flatter up these powers of mine with rest, the sudden hand of death close up mine eye. Hence, ever then, my heart is in thy breast.
But what to me, my love? But what to me, a wife?
A beard, fair health, and honesty. With threefold love I wish you all these three.
Oh, shall I say, I thank you, gentle wife?
Not so, my lord. A 12-month and a day I'll mark no words that smooth-faced wooers say. Come when the king doth to my lady come, then, if I have much love, I'll give you some.
I'll serve thee true and faithfully till then.
Yet swear not, lest ye be forsworn again.
What says Maria?
At the 12 months' end, I'll change my black gown for a faithful friend.
I'll stay with patience, but the time is long.
The liker you, few taller are so young.
Mistress, look on me. Behold the window of my heart, mine eye. What humble suit attends thy answer there? Impose some service on me for thy love.
Oft I have heard of you, Lord Baron, before I saw you, and the world's large tongue proclaims you for a man replete with mocks, full of comparisons and wounding flouts, which you on all estates will execute that lie within the mercy of your wit. To weed this wormwood from your fruitful brain, and therewithal to win me, if you please, without the which I am not to be won. You shall this 12-month term from day to day visit the speechless sick, and still converse with groaning wretches. And your task shall be, with all the fierce endeavor of your wit, to enforce the pained impotent to smile.
To move wild laughter in the throat of death? It cannot be. It is impossible. Mirth cannot move a soul in agony.
Why, that's the way to choke a gibing spirit, whose influence is begot of that loose grace, which shallow laughing hearers give to fools. Then if sickly ears, deft with the clamors of their own dear groans, will hear your idle scorns, continue then, and I will have you and that fault withal. But if they will not, throw away that spirit, and I shall find you empty of that fault, right joyful of your reformation.
A 12-month. Well, befall what will befall. I'll jest a 12-month in an hospital.
Ay, sweet, my lord, and so I take my leave.
Oh, madam, we will bring you on your way.
Our wooing doth not end like an old play. Jack hath not Jill. These ladies' courtesy might well have made our sport a comedy.
Come, sir. It wants a 12-month and a day, and then 'twill end.
That's too long for a play.
When daisies bright and violets blue, and lady smocks all silver white, when cuckoo birds of yellow hue do paint the meadows with delight, the cuckoo then on every tree walks very dim, for thus sings he. Cuckoo, cuckoo, oh word of fear, unpleasing to a married being.
When icicles hang by the wall, and Dick the shepherd blows his nail, and Tom bears logs into the hall, and milk comes frozen home in pail, when blood is nipped and ways be foul, then mightily sing the starling owl. To wit, to a merry note, while greasy John doth keep the part. To wit, to a merry note, while greasy John doth kill the part.
turtles tread and rooks and daws, and maidens bleach their summer smocks.
When all alert the wind doth blow, and coughing drowns the parson's saw, and birds sit brooding in the snow, and Marion's nose looks red and raw.
The cuckoo then on every tree,
When roasted crabs hiss in the bowl,
mocks married men, for thus sings he.
then nightly sing the stay